Well, the Canadian Championship final is set as far as the two teams playing in the final. Toronto FC against Forge FC, but we don't know where, we don't know when. Josh, let's talk about this matchup itself, though. TFC versus Forge. Is Forge the best representative from the Canadian Premier League and maybe the best matchup for TFC?
Oh, absolutely. What I'm really looking forward to is Forge being an underdog for once, because that's kind of what they are going into this game, right? I do think that Forge are the team that are best kind of equipped to go at TFC. I think this will be a bit of a chess match in a way, because you have two managers that are super tactical in their approach, Bobby and Greg. But I am looking forward to seeing how they kind of relish that role of being the underdog, and I'm looking forward to, we should add as well, we don't know what Forge's roster is going to look like by that point, right? Because there are players on this team that, you know, might leave the squad. They might have bigger opportunities ahead of them. There are MLS teams, as I understand it, that are very interested in Kyle Becker. So will he be a Forge player by the final? Because he's very much the linchpin of this team. So yes, I think they're the best equipped team to give TFC a game. But you do wonder, you know, what their squad is going to look like whenever this final happens.
Yeah, I mean, it's simple, right? They have the most players who have played at another level, who have been drafted into Major League Soccer. David Edgar, don't talk about his pedigree. Kyle Becker, Kwame Awuah was drafted by New York City FC. Babuli's been on the field in Major League Soccer matches. Chris Nanko was part of the Philadelphia Union setup for a long time. So they have players that have experience playing at that level. So of course Forge gives, you know, the Canadian Premier League the best chance in that match. Working towards one match for 6 weeks, 2 months, however long it is. I like Bobby. I like Bobby Smyrniotis in these moments.
And all those players you listed now have something to prove, right? These are players that were MLS players, now are not. And there's a lot of, we were talking about kind of motivation, why players play. That's part of it. Right, and that's a big reason why I think Forge, look, TFC have so much talent. They're one of the best MLS clubs there, and they have some world-class talent. But when you have players that are in there and they have this personal pride that they're playing for, a lot of those players you just listed, Kurt, that adds an element to the game that we don't always see in a final. So it sets up to be a really exciting final. It does.
The big question from fans after it was announced, well, we don't know where or when this game will take place, is just the idea that it may be in December. And after this Canadian Premier League final is now over, they have to wait. Potentially, we'll have to wait a few months before they play again. Is that something that you're concerned with, Kurt?
No, I don't get concerned over much. You guys tell me. You guys tell me if I'm overthinking this or my thought process. I don't think it's going to be as big a disadvantage to Forge as people think it's going to be, because for the reason I already stated, I think when you have a group of underdogs that now, after partying tonight and taking a week off, you know, at home, are now going to have this collective thing to work towards for the next 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, whatever it is. Let's say Toronto FC. We don't know what's going to happen with the rest of their season. But let's say TFC is eliminated from the playoffs early, sometime in November or so, early November. You have a team there are they going to be really engaged long enough to play a final against a CPL team? Are they going to be, you know, a well-oiled machine at that point? I actually think if you have everybody on Forge on board working towards this moment, they could actually catch TFC at a good time.
How Forge performs in the CONCACAF League is going to be huge. Right, I was looking at their schedule just before this. They have the qualifying games in October. They have more games in November. If they can stay hot and if they can just get games in, because that would have been the difference. Let's say Halifax wins, then you have even more questions, right? But you have a Forge team that's going to be playing competitive games leading up to what we presume to be a final in November, December. So that's a big advantage for Forge. And I think you're right. Right, I think if TFC lose and then they have to get back up for it.
You watched TFC in Florida. I mean, did they look like they were engaged in that New York City FC playoff game? And was everybody on board with that tournament?
No, but
Jozy's in Florida. Where's Jozy?
I think there were a lot of extenuating circumstances that we could probably go into about, you know, TFC's desire to even be in that Florida tournament. But in this one game, let's talk about depth as well, right? Let's say for whatever reason, like injuries are a factor with this TFC team.
Yeah.
And if there are certain players that are not going to be playing in this final, do you still like TFC's bench enough against this Forge team? I do. I think this one is really too early to tell because, like I said, we don't know what Forge's roster is really going to look like.
Right.
But I do think that they are going to have enough pieces that can make life difficult for
Don't
TFC.
underestimate Bobby's, ability to convince people to stay just based on this one moment, Canadian soccer history. All eyes are going to be on that match.